We're almost done. It's coming up on the end of the month. This is the second to last Vlogmas 2019 video, and there have definitely been some days where I felt like I was not going to make it, where I was either on vacation or honestly doing Vlogmas while I was in Missouri. Not actually that hard. The hotel internet was okay. I managed to get some little videos done both times. That was fine. I expected that to be a speed bump. We managed a video every single day that I was in Hawaii, which is, it seems ludicrous to me that I managed to do all of that. Sometimes I look back at a month or even sometimes a week and I boggle at how much shit I get done. Right? I'm very, very good at making a list of things and then just chopping shit off that list one at a time. I've become, in the last 5 years, an incredibly productive person. I feel at once both the most accomplished I've ever felt, like ever, in my whole life, and also like the most exhausted, you know? And I wonder, is this what being successful feels like for everyone? Is this the narrative of being a person? Like, you just do less and less things, but more and more of the things you do, you get better and better at fewer and fewer things, but the things you're good at, you're very good at. I don't know, maybe that's just how it is. You can kind of see I'm starting to think about these days what it's like to be a person of my age in the world, right? Of like thinking about, not about getting older necessarily, or thoughts about mortality, though God knows I have a few of those. Though that's not new. I've had a weird, morbid fascination with dying for a really long time, my whole life, really. So that's not new either. I just feel a lot of like wondering about the story of my life and the story of other people's lives and kind of how they've all fit together, right? Am I living the same kind of life as other people and I just don't know it? Or is every human life completely intuitively different from the ground up? Are we fundamentally experiencing existence alone? Or is there really only a few narratives and we're all following more or less the same paths? I wonder more and more about that as time goes on. This is kind of a weird period in a life. I'm 36 now. I turned 36 this year. And in a lot of ways, I feel younger than that. I have these moments where I feel like I don't own a house. I don't have kids. I'm not married. I don't intend to achieve any of those things. I dye my hair. I have piercings. I watch cartoons. I listen to heavy metal. I play video games and role-playing games for a living. There's no real metric by which I could be considered like a grown adult, except for the fact that I'm like financially stable and I've accomplished some stuff in my life, you know? I made a book. I have a channel. I own my own business. I am a business. And it's like, I don't know, a lot of my friends these days are either, and this is going to sound so silly, but a lot of the people that I know are either getting married, or they're having kids, or both, or they're like getting cancer, or maybe dying. And it feels like a fucked up thing to realize how that will shift over time. That like your peers, assuming that your peers are people about the same age as you, you're culturally similar, your peers will go from being carefree youths to making lifelong commitments to potentially procreating, and there will be a point at which all of that procreating and all of that committing will be done, and you just start checking people off your list. I don't know. For people who don't know this, Jeff, In Control, Jeff Robinson, Jeff died this year. And, TB died the year before, or a little longer, and it feels like a year. And I didn't know TB that well, but I'm very closely connected to some of the people that were part of his community, and it hadn't really affected me. But Jeff is really the first person that I know who has like passed away as an adult. I've had friends get really sick. People close to me gotten really sick and had those kinds of scares that you start to get as an adult where you're like, oh, if something had been different, if we hadn't gone to the hospital that night, or if your body hadn't just been a little bit, if it had been a little bit weaker, you know, you wouldn't be here today. And I'm thankful for having escaped those situations with the humans I love intact. But losing Jeff this year, I don't want to say that it like got me thinking about what it's like to lose friends and how it feels to, you know, worry about that stuff. Because I don't know that that's the case. I feel like I always think about and worry about that. But there's just something about having a person-shaped hole, not even in your life, but in the fabric of the universe, you know, where somebody matters enough to you, close enough to you, and personal enough to you that when they're gone, it's not even like it's sad exactly. Like it is, but that's not the predominant feeling. It's just this kind of resignation about like, oh, like being a person is really sad sometimes. And the older you get, I think the more you have to confront that particular flavor of sadness. I didn't mean for this vlog to get all like, and I don't think it feels like a bummer to me. And I'm not afraid of sad vibes. I hope you're not either, but I don't know. I'm just thinking about endings, you know? People go into the winter thinking about how great the new year is going to be, but for me, it's always been a time of like, it's getting cold, it's getting dark, and you just kind of like take a minute to reflect on stuff that maybe you tried to gloss over during the year. And for me, the big sad was losing Jeff. And I say losing because I really feel like we're worse off without him. You know? He and I didn't work together a ton in the last couple of years, but I just feel like it's maybe what sometimes people feel when a celebrity dies. And maybe this is what you felt when you found out about Jeff, if that's something that you knew, or if he's someone you followed. That kind of sadness that the things that they do, the things that they made and brought to the world are gone. That's it. The line is cut now, and you won't get any more of that. And that's, I don't know, that feels tragic in its own sort of unique metaphysical way, because you know, there's going to be no shortage of funny jokes and great movies and TV shows and streams and art and life and experiences. There's going to be no shortage of any of that stuff from here until, you know, the great black oblivion. But this flavor, this particular chord has been removed from the universe. And that's a sobering thought, I guess. And I don't know. I mean, having someone leave your life, whether in a permanent, intense way like that, or in a gentler, sometimes harder way, for me, it's not about like rethinking your life, but just a reminder to kind of like appreciate what does exist. You can't stop people from leaving. You can't force them to stay. You can't prevent them from dying, but you can appreciate them while they're around. You can look at the people in your life that really matter, and you can say, holy shit, like what a miracle to have these people around me. And even though I've talked in these vlogs a little bit about how lonely it can be having friends that all kind of live far away and are so busy that we don't have a lot of time to just casually interact, I am so deeply thankful for every person I get to do things with. I think about everyone on every show that I've been on this year. I think about doing work with Blue Jay and helping her build her modeling portfolio. Thinking about all of the role-playing games that I've shared with you. And God damn if it doesn't make me feel not thankful to be alive, because I think that's pushing it, but just like, that's why I like making things. That's why I like being busy. That's why I spend days like today 12 hours at a time streaming and writing and editing photos and just creating shit, because eventually I'm going to be dead. Eventually I will be gone and I will lose the ability to make things for you. Whether you're a best friend that I have known my whole life, or whether this is the first time we are ever interacting, for me, the purpose of being alive is to make things and to share things and to like care about some stuff, because there's just so much sadness and loss and like fucked upness in the universe that I don't think you can really stop that tide. You can't go out there and bail out the sea with a teaspoon, but you can build things. You can create an edifice that the great fucking oceans of time can't take away. And I know that's a really lofty thing to say about like pretending to be a wizard or whatever, but every time I've ever made somebody feel something, or I've created something that has, I don't know, turned someone on or confused them or made them think about life in another way, or just like laugh really hard, I don't really care about property. I don't need to own a castle with my name on it. I don't need to have kids. I don't care about lineage or bloodline. But getting to impact you, even in this small way, every day this month, is part of a much larger reason for me to exist. So, I don't know. I guess I feel pretty fucking good about that.